Hey everybody, I'm Phillip.
And I'm Justin.
And together we are Pajamas. And we are testing out an audio only review setup. We are in the living room. We are recording on the Blue Snowball, so it's not our usual setup in the workroom. But we've tried recording in here before, and it's less than stellar with the video and the audio. So it's going to be a little echoey. We're at the other station, so if it sounds bad, I apologize. This is just a test to see if this is viable at all to do something extra that doesn't involve setting everything up at like 5 in the morning, potentially waking up the neighbors, because we are not them. But we just watched Old.
Yes.
And we decided to use that movie as a conduit to see if this would work. So, and we literally just finished it. Like the credits just rolled on when we set this up.
We won't know until we try.
Exactly. Just like this movie. We didn't know until we tried. So what did you think?
I thought that it was very good. I really liked it.
What did you like about it?
Well, I liked the dramatic situation of time moving quickly and their aging at the rapid amount that they are.
Yes.
And also wondering what they were being filmed for, and then it was revealed why.
Yeah.
It brings up a very interesting dilemma in medical ethics.
Yes. I have that written down. I have ethics versus science. Written down, yeah.
Yes. It sort of reminds me of the old question, do the ends justify the means,
Exactly.
or do the means justify the ends?
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, one could argue both ways on this. Because they say, like, we can test medicine in a day instead of a lifetime. So...
And yes, so,
yeah, I mean,
so potentially they have saved millions of people in a miraculously short amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, because imagine, like, you don't need to study somebody for a lifetime to make some, to not only make your medicine, but to alter it if you need to. You can test it.
Yes.
You can make modifications in a week if you want to. And they've been like 70 something trials. This was trial 73, so
yes,
72 previous groups have been. They say the gist is that these people are taken, like they're on vacation and they're taken to this resort, or they're at this resort rather, and then they're said, hey, there's this private beach you can go to. They're all taken there, and then obviously they all start aging. The children grow up very rapidly, but in each group somebody has some kind of medical condition. Like the doctor, I think it's schizophrenia or something. Something was going on with him.
yes.
Or dementia, at least. Then the one lady, she had cancer. Another lady had epilepsy. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, and also the rapper that was on the beach, he had like a condition with his blood. And then the woman they found dead from the ocean, she had MS, I believe. And it goes from there, yeah, it just kind of snowballs. It's used into these dramatic situations, and...
Yes.
I didn't like it as much as you. I have a problem with Shyamalan's work. This is not an original story of his, so this is this is like an adaptation of I believe it's a book. I like the idea. I do. Maybe I'm being nitpicky, but the inconsistencies in their aging kind of, I guess just physically. Because like obviously they were growing older. I mean, they said they're cells, but that still, it counts as everything. Like the one guy was like losing his sight, and I think the mom was losing her hearing. Mm-hmm. But they weren't like physically aging to like, they didn't look like they should be 70, 80 years old. Maybe that's just me misinterpreting what it meant. But I thought since the children were aging, they were developing, you would also age like they did.
Children, when they do get older, it looks like they're aging rapidly. Whereas older people, they don't change as much.
I understand that, but they said like they would age like X amount of years per hour, and they would be like, in 24 hours, they would be, essentially dead. Mm-hmm. But they looked just like maybe a little older than they did when they arrived. Whereas the kids, like by the time they left, they looked 50. They looked older rather. Again, this could just be me misunderstanding the concept, the premise, or maybe just being nitpicky. So that was a little. The dialogue in places was very try-hardy. Like it just, you can tell like M. Night Shyamalan, if he adapted this script, and I think he did, he has a tendency to like make everyone talk like him, and I find that very, very problematic. All his characters are kind of the same to me. Like they're all very like matter of fact, and look how I know all these quirky facts. But I did think the acting was good for the most part. I I think the nurse, guy that was the nurse, that was with the lady who had the seizures.
Mm-hmm.
His delivery, I've seen him in other stuff before, but his delivery here was really, really strange in parts. But I thought everyone else was solid. I thought that I think Nat Wolff and Thomason, I forget her last name, did a really good job of being teenage versions of the kids. Like they felt like 6-year-old kids, or 6 and 10 or whatever, respectively, that were all of a sudden like 16 or whatever. They looked older, but they were still very immature, obviously. I don't know. I did like the reveal. At first, I didn't, because I was like, Shyamalan's problem is usually there's a concept of show don't tell or tell don't show. He has to do both. He has to show and tell, and I think sometimes that hurts the plot. Like with The Village, I thought you could have done that differently. It was fine-ish for what it was. I wasn't wowed.
I do have something that I would be nitpicky about.
Mm-hmm.
Why did it take that long to read the coded message?
Yeah.
That he hates the coral.
Yeah.
Well, it may seem strange, but maybe that means something.
It did.
And it took them that long to share that?
Well, in fairness, like he saw the note, then they got there, they were having fun, and then started happening like a lot of crazy stuff. So like the last thing you're gonna think about is the note the kid you just met earlier gave you. Like, oh my God, all of a sudden I'm 11 years old, and now I'm 16, now I'm 20. Like, I think that takes precedence over what did my friend write me in code. So I kind of get that. He should have put like important or exclamation points on the front of it or something. Like, I think if they'd done that, then. But yeah, why didn't he try and solve it on the way there? That I don't know. Like, but once there, yeah, they were having fun. They were on the beach. It was, neat, and then it got scary, and then it got really freaking weird.
Yes.
Like hell, that one lady with the calcium problems, which I can identify with. I was like, oh my God. I was like, that was horrifying.
Yes.
Felt so bad for her. I was like, dang. So yeah, she had another issue. She had calcium issues. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was okay. It wasn't his worst movie by far. It wasn't The Last Airbender by any means. Like I was into it. I wasn't bored. And at first I said I was kind of like about the reveal, but then the reveal was like, okay, this is, as you said, it brought up that ethical and moral, and like that. I can see both sides. I can see how this is wrong, but I can also see how this is a once in a forever
opportunity.
Yeah, to take advantage of. So, is it right? No. Is it wrong? Maybe. It's subjective. It's like
so many factors need to be taken into consideration before jumping to a conclusion.
Because probably would think hey, maybe you should just I don't know how you would do this logistically in real life without a government agency stepping in and taking over it, and then doing the same damn thing, like doing experiments there. But you could say, hey, looking for subjects, terminally ill people, come to this place. You won't have to suffer for very long, and
yes, that actually.
If you sign this waiver, we're going to tell you, hey, this ages you very fast. Instead of being in pain for 20 years, you'll be in pain for 4 hours, and then you'll die very quickly. I mean, hell, her tumor was growing ridiculously rapidly.
Yes, it is something that I did think of how, in real life, how this would happen, and I suspect that the only way to make it ethical would be to have people sign a consent form, though at the same time, who's going to consent to this? And, well, you did mention the terminally ill, maybe.
Yeah. I do like that part of it, that reveal. And I'm assuming this is in the original story anyway, so it's not like he did it. But as far as the story providing the reveal, I didn't mind it, especially when it came up with that dilemma. Because it made you think. It wasn't just a twist for the sake of a twist. Shyamalan is usually it's a twist! And you're but why? But this one made sense. And I mean, I thought it was a little, the cop gentleman sends the pictures to, back to whomever, and then they, boom, subpoenas. Boom, it was boom, boom, boom. That happened really fast. You would think they would have a fail-safe in play.
Yes.
I don't know how they would have got it. If he hadn't brought the book back, maybe you could just be oh, they're crazy people here, come with us, and then they just get quietly disposed of. I don't know, it just seems like it wouldn't have been that fast, that easy. This is a big pharma company, and a big pharma evil. And, not arguing that. I just feel like they would have some kind of something, break glass in case of emergency, kind of something in place to, if this, like, what if? Like, that's what those are for. That's what a failsafe is for. If this happens, then we do this. But it was like very, very, a very clean ending, I guess. Like, well, they arrive back, they give the book, the police officer sends pictures. Everyone's been arrested. Subpoenas are being sent out. They're being flown back in a helicopter to their aunt. I feel like more would be involved, and it would go a lot slower. I would think. Maybe I don't know. I don't know how that all would work. It just seemed like we sprinted to that end a little bit. Yeah, I don't know.
It would have been interesting if, for example, that yes, law enforcement were informed of this, and they said that they will look into it, and they know that actually how they're able to do this is because the pharmacy company and the government have made an agreement that to do this as long as they share their research.
Yeah.
That would have been a very interesting twist.
I did think when the lady got the tumor taken out of her, I'd have been more like, why am I healed? Why is this cut? I was waiting for the cut to heal around their fingers and they'd be stuck. That's what I was waiting for. I was like, body horror. Well, I thought the tumor was in her head, and then it's here, and it's the size of a grapefruit, and they take it out, and if that happened to me, I'd be like, why is there a scar here? What? How did you just take it out? Why is that here? It's weird. Kind of creepy that technically, a 6-year-old girl had a baby.
Yes, when they were in the tent, I was suspecting that something like that was going to happen.
And then the baby dies because it just can't grow correctly, I guess.
It did seem a bit of a plot hole.
Yeah. I did write in my notes that the one lady hadn't had a seizure in a while, and I was like, if it accelerates everyone's condition, why hasn't she had a seizure? They answer that at the end, which I was glad, but at the time I was like, how come everyone else is deteriorating except for her? So then, cool that they, and it's also cool that when they arrived there, they were like, oh, we made you a beverage based on your choices. It was actually the medicine that they were giving them. I was like, okay, that's I like that. That was clever. Let's see, was there anything else? Like, I thought them figuring out the rocks were the thing, and then we had that shot of like the overlay of the rock of the cliffs on their faces, making them look old. I thought it was a little like boom, 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 boom. It's like, we get it. So it's another thing like his movies do sometimes. They like jump to the right conclusion, and that's the answer. Instead of like hypothesizing other things. Maybe it's the sand. Maybe it's the water. Maybe it's the sky. Maybe it's the air. Why is it the rocks? It's the rocks.
I was wondering about that if everything is aging, then that would mean then that the rocks are eroding at a rapid pace.
Possibly, yes. But they also talk about like this is a point on the Earth where like the magnetic stuff was like, so maybe since it's not like rocks aren't
living things.
Yeah.
And well, yes, they aren't living things, but I would think that with time being what it is, it would have been a little more consistent. But at the same time, it also sort of was, in that with or without it, erosion takes an extremely long time.
Yeah. But also, I just don't think it works that way, because like I don't think it's going to age a rock like that. Like rocks don't have like cells that can break down and age like that. I think it actually affects like physical beings. Like there were no fish. They commented that. That's flesh and like not like flesh and blood, but like
yes,
organisms. Like
that's probably the best.
Yeah, a rock isn't really. It's a rock. It's still it's still a thing, but it's not going to age like a regular organism would. So I think it's different as far as that goes.
Which would probably also be the explanation of why the food didn't go bad.
Yeah, I was thinking of that too. Yeah.
They aged, but the food didn't.
Yeah, the food should have went moldy and gross or whatever really quickly.
Yes, I was actually waiting for that to happen, and it never did.
Yeah. And then at the end, the guy says, how did your aunt take it? And they're like, how would you feel if a 50-year-old man called you and said he was your 6-year-old nephew or whatever? And I was like, so he could be like technically 26 when he dies.
Mm.
Theoretically.
And of course, like with everybody else, he's never going to get that time back.
It's weird. It's gonna be like, what do they do then when they you would figure the government would be like, hey, we need to talk to you. Like, you can't just go home to your aunt. The FBI is going to, or someone, whatever is even more secret than the FBI, is going to be there to be like, hey, can we talk for a second, because you're 6 and now you're 50. You're going to be eternally like this because you aged past all of the maturation, the natural maturation of mentally growing into yourself as an adult. So he's going to be 6 forever, one would think.
Yes.
So,
And they would probably have some struggle adapting.
Oh, yeah.
It, because, well, they went from children to adults, but they cannot be expected to be able to do things that adults are taken for granted to know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, they're pretty much got to be like treated like kids.
Yes, so despite how they may look, their aunt is going to have to treat them like children.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's just interesting if there was an old part to how that would play out. Like, what do their lives look like now? But yeah, I mean, overall, it was okay. I do like the premise a lot, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. I'm not trying to say it was awful. I wouldn't say like you need to watch this movie right now. But I was like, we were like, let's watch something together. So we just saw what was available, and I'm like, hey, let's check this out. So if you're in that kind of mood, give it a watch.
I agree.
All right, is there anything else you'd like to add
No.
about a movie that's about me?
Oh.
I even thought to myself, I was like, what would happen to me there? Like, oh my God. Like, my deterioration is like gradual. It's there, but it's gradual. Well, not as bad as the lady with the calcium deficiency. Mine's like much more minor than that, but it's still there. So like, holy hell. I'm like, I don't want to think what would happen to me if we were there.
Don't worry, I'll do my best to make sure that that never happens.
Okay, well, don't take me to a creepy beach. See, this is people who make fun of me for staying in the house all the time. This is why I won't go to a beach where I age rapidly because of a pharmaceutical company when I do experiments. Haha.
That's an understandable reason.
Exactly. Can't get me. All right, for reals. Anything else you'd like to add?
No.
All right, we're gonna wrap this one up. This experiment ends. Hopefully, it is successful because this was actually more of a laid back two blokes having a chat. As always, I don't have a fancy outro, so I'll simply say thank you for watching. Thank you for watching. I messed up. See, this is a test. As always, thank you for listening. And we'll see you in the next one, or talk to you in the next one. I have to edit that outro a little bit. Until then, goodbye.
Goodbye.
I like your waving to the microphone.
Force of habit.
I know, we both have to get used to like a different setup if this works.